All right, the 2014 Audi Q7 with the TDI engine in it. Let's see if this Dieselgate vehicle is worth the money, because this vehicle is located at Cary Imports and it's going for around 15 grand and some change. So the price is very appealing on such a big baller SUV like this, right? A nice, large, prestigious automobile, if you will. And the main reason why I'm doing this review is because, well, I mean, a lot of normal humans may be considering to purchase this vehicle as a family car, right? But it looks good. It's an Audi. And this is, in fact, one of my most favorite designs for the Audi Q7. In fact, I like this design more than the brand new Audi Q7. But most importantly, I come to this dealership because you can actually purchase a warranty with this 150,000 mile Q7, and I definitely do recommend it. And I'll talk some more about the reliability and some of the other maintenance things here in a bit, but yeah, definitely take advantage of that warranty. For like 2 to 3 grand, it's really a must-have on a vehicle like this with this type of mileage. It just helps you to kind of hedge yourself against any future repairs. Now let's get started with this review. Okay, what we have here is a diesel Q7, the TDI. We have a 3-liter V6 turbocharged diesel. Produces around 240 horsepower and about 406 pounds-feet of torque, something like that. So the torque is the main reason why you buy this. Nice low-end torque. And it gets up to speed, but you don't even really notice it. It's like the most understated machine I've ever experienced. But being an Audi product, you know this thing is going to be hyper smooth, and it is. You don't even realize that this is a diesel engine at all. Let's see here. Bend this little corner here and kind of put our foot into it. It's not the quickest thing in the world. We have like a 4,500 RPM red line. And no, it's really not that quick, despite that torque figure. But it is a nice, smooth, progressive power buildup, I guess. But no, it's not quick. It is rated to do 0 to 60 in about 7.7 seconds. But the smoothness is there. And regarding the maintenance and the reliability of this, some of the things that typically go wrong is like the intake manifold flaps that could kind of malfunction there a little bit, or the actuators that control it. You also have a direct injected motor, so some carbon buildup is to be expected, but really nothing too crazy going on. I mean, the 8-speed transmission is pretty much proven, performs really well. And the only other thing is you really got to avoid having some water buildup with this. So if it rains or something like that, you really got to make sure to clean it all out. Like the front windshield area, some water buildup there could cause some issues, as well as in the sunroof area too. So just make sure that you kind of watch out for these things, you keep up with it, and make sure to do oil changes very frequently with this, like every 5,000 miles with synthetic if you possibly can. Making sure to get that warranty, that'll really help out with the ownership process. But yeah, one of the things, I mean, we're about to see this more in the interior segment, but the reason why I really like Audis compared to some of the other vehicles like Mercedes or something like that, or even BMW, is just how well the interiors age. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Let's kind of transition over into into some of these driving aspects. You do get a nice little turbo whistle. It is subtle, however, it is there, and it does make it a little bit more enjoyable, add some character to this motor. And we also have 19-inch wheels here, wrapped in 255 wide tires. These are not obviously the largest wheels that you can possibly get, but those smaller wheels, it will help out with the ride quality of this. And we also have a double wishbone front suspension, as well as a multi-link rear suspension. So the handling, the ride quality, it's all on point. However, I will say when you kind of go over the larger bumps, you do kind of hear it a little bit more. However, it is very comfortable for sure, no problems. The brakes are just really spongy, and yeah, that's really the only con I could find with this driving experience. The braking feel is really off in this thing. I really don't like the brakes. I would definitely try to get new pads or something on this. That would be the first thing I would try to do with this vehicle. Steering is definitely on the lighter numb side, like it is with most Audis, but it's really like easy to pilot this vehicle. It's a massive machine. It's like 200 inches long, weighs 5,500 pounds. It can also tow 5,500 pounds. Pretty effortless, gets off the line well. But there's really no drama in driving this car. Gets like 19 in the city and 28 on the highway. I mean, that's really the main reason for purchasing this. And I will test out some more of the handling here in a little bit. 8-speed does a pretty good job. You can also shift it into the sport mode. But it's still kind of a lethargic driving experience. It's not like quick to respond or anything like that. It's just like a pleasant driving experience. Like driving this thing foot to the floor, you're totally missing the point with this. That's absolutely not why you drive this. You drive this for being a pleasant, smooth cruiser that gets some legitimate fuel economy. Let's see here. Test out some of this handling. Yeah, for such a large behemoth of a machine, this thing does stick rather well. That's not really the issue here. You could put some stickier tires on here as well. These are like some Bridgestone Ecopia tires, right? Ecopia, whatever it's called. So it's definitely an economy tire. Again, driving it like that is totally missing the point. This is only for testing purposes. What you need to know is this car is plenty comfortable. It's quiet, extremely quiet for sure. Even though it does not utilize double pane glass, you're pretty much void of any real outside interactions, right? It initially stickered for like what, 48 grand for the kind of base models, and these TDI models, they started at around $53,000, and now you can get it for like what, 15 grand. So there you go. And regarding that TDI engine, you know, most people are like, oh my God, is it gonna like pass inspection and all that stuff? Well, you know, I think they had to like buy back what, like 11 million vehicles or something like that, or try to fix 11 million VW Audi products that utilize these diesel engines. I think for the Q7s, all they did was like a software update, and they maybe like fiddled with the exhaust or something a little bit. And these things are now pretty much passing emissions. It's really not an issue. You know, a lot of people, environmentalists or whatever, they love to pick on cars because it's an easy target. However, there are far more dirtier, disgusting things on this planet than this Audi. I mean, this is the least of most people's concerns. You have these like large-ass cargo ships. You also have airplanes, obviously. You got to have your next-day deliveries, your 2-day deliveries from Amazon, right? I mean, there's just so many more like inefficient, dirtier things on this planet than a freaking Audi with a diesel engine. It's really besides the point. I mean, for you, if you're owning this thing, you're going to be getting 19 in the city, 28 on the highway, as I already mentioned. So rather efficient for such a large brute that can also tow around 5,500 pounds, which is not bad. And yeah, really the only cons that I can really find with this machine is the fact that it's not very fast, and also the brakes on this, it's really soft and spongy, and you almost feel like you don't have enough stopping power. So that would be the first thing that I would try to replace on this machine. But other than that, let's go ahead and let's transition over into this interior segment now. All right, so now that we are stopped, let's go ahead and let's talk about one of the highlights to not only this vehicle, but most Audi products, and that is their interiors and the way that they age. This thing with 150k miles on it, this interior has held up really well. This is a really nice, solid, well-built vehicle. You can really feel that when you step inside of it. The leathers aren't insanely wrinkled or anything like that. When you open and close the doors, they feel solid, and it just has a nice, tightly put together feel, and that's why there's not really any creaks and rattles with it. The only real thing is like the center armrest that can get a tad bit annoying, but that's really the only part that I can sense or detect massive creaking with. But otherwise, this is just really well done. The steering wheel, this leather wrapped steering wheel, held up really well. Actually, it's pretty much damn near like brand new. Now, I mean, it's not completely perfect. There's a few little issues here, like this knob where you control the MMI infotainment screen. It's like missing the little cap on it, but I'm sure you can just pick that up from eBay, not a big deal. And also, there's a slight little, I guess in the front bumper, it's like slightly kind of cracked, I guess, one of the plastic pieces on the outside. Again, not a big deal. Another little eBay item that you can literally just purchase. But outside of that, man, this is really well done. And again, 15 grand, all the way from like a 55 grand car to like 15 grand. I think you can stomach a few of these things. It's really not a big deal. Cheap fixes. You have some niceties here, of course, like you'd expect out of a flagship SUV from Audi. Okay, you have the one touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. Very nice, convenient touch. Automatic headlights. Memory seats in the front. You have heated seats in the front. If you went up in trim, you can also get cooled seats in the front, but this is not that. And don't mind this, I mean, you can start this vehicle up with the key, but you also have the push button start down here as well. So you can start the vehicle up in 2 ways. You also have a physical gear lever knob, and this is where you can also put into the sport mode. You can also shift it yourself if you would like, but I just recommend putting it into the drive mode. That really seems to suit it the best for this lethargic driving characteristic. It's not a race car, not by a long shot. It's just meant for nice, smooth cruising. And that's the other thing. In this interior space, I already mentioned the vehicle is very quiet, but you know, the other thing with being an Audi product is all their engines are super smooth, like hyper smooth, really. This is a diesel product and you don't get that weird ticking effect or that ticking sound or anything like that. It's nice and smooth. There's no vibrations coming through the steering. Now you have this little MMI screen here, and it's okay, it works decently well. The weird thing is up is down and down is up with this infotainment, so that takes some getting used to. One of the things that I really like is the fact that you actually have the Bose audio system here. I believe this is a 14 speaker system, but there is a system that's below this Bose, and it's like 11 speakers, and I think it's like 180 watts. I believe this is like a 220 watt system, and of course there's a 14 speaker Bang & Olufsen, which is optional and very rare to find. Nobody really buys these things fully spec'd out, so it's kind of going to be difficult to find a Bang & Olufsen Q7. However, I think that was like a 1,000 watt unit, and that's like the top of the line that you can get. But this Bose does a pretty decent job. It's a nice sound system. I don't have an issue with it. The gauge cluster is laid out really well, really easy to understand. You have this little helper screen in the middle here that shows you your digital speedometer. You have a backup camera, you have sensors as well. You also have an electronic glove box, which is really extra. I mean, that's really unnecessary, but that's what you have here. And also, speaking of the audio system, you also have a CD player in here as well, and you also have SD card slots for your music if you want to use that, but you also have Bluetooth here as well. Really, the center armrest space isn't massive. I mean, you can lift it up, and you can also lift up this the armrest portion on its own, and you can actually put like a large cell phone in there, large smartphone actually, so that's pretty good. However, it doesn't really close properly. That's one of the things I noticed. You can also open up the other flap on the passenger side, and you will have 2 cup holders. And the door pocket space is excellent. You can definitely put a large bottle in there, no problems. And the seat comfort and the ergonomics, it's excellent. Obviously, you have powered seats in the front, both for the passenger and the driver's side, and you have some great lumbar support. Very comfortable seats. They have aged really well. I mean, there's hardly any wear and tear on here on this vehicle. So it's a nice, comfortable, opulent space where you can, it's really non-fatiguing. You can do a lot of miles on this, and if you're a highway driver, you can really take advantage of that turbo diesel engine with the excellent 28 mpgs that you're going to be getting on the highway. You also have some other features here like the garage home link. You have 3-way garage home link here. Visibility is pretty decent. I like the very large side view mirrors here, and we also have a massive panoramic sunroof as well, and everything just works in here. I think it just needs like an oil change. That's the only like service item that's due when you start up the vehicle, but outside of that, man, I mean, everything works. All the electronics work. My master technician Dave Garcia at High Performance Garage, he really says, like, if you take care of these cars, if you properly maintain them, these cars aren't really that much issue. It's not the headache that a lot of people think it is, but just hedge yourself with that warranty. That's all I have to say. But anyway, let's jump into those rear seats here. I have plenty of space to sit behind myself. Getting in and out of this vehicle is easy. Much more space than something like a Range Rover, but I will say my legs are sitting up a little bit higher than I would like, but it's not too terrible. And I am 5'11". Yeah, I have no issue sitting back there. There's plenty of space. However, I will say the third row is really a joke. I mean, even children might have issues fitting back there. That's how tight it is. And so what I recommend doing is just folding down those rear seats completely, the third row seats completely, and just use this as a 5-seater with a ton of cargo capacity. And you also have a spare tire back there as well. It's a skinny spare, but you do have it. So that's great. Practical, really appreciate it. And I appreciate this vehicle as a whole. I mean, it's a solid little daily driver. Quattro all-wheel drive. I forgot to mention that on the drive, but yeah, these Q7s, they all came with standard Quattro all-wheel drive, which is Audi's excellent system. You have plenty of traction, no issues, just makes it for a great daily driver. I don't know, consider test driving the other engines because this diesel is pretty slow. It's really best suited for highway drivers. That's what this thing is really made for, especially with the comfort and the opulence that it has to offer and some other great features here. It just makes for a nice little automobile to park in your driveway. The design of this is timeless. Like I mentioned, I prefer the looks of this big bulbous Q7 to the newer ones. There's just something baller about the way that this generation look. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, I will leave all of Cary Imports information down in the description box below. Thanks again for watching. Take care and goodbye.